It's 9:36 on Friday. I'm just leaving town, having filled up with fuel, grabbed a sandwich, all that kind of road trip stuff. And I'm now just driving up north to Morecambe, where I'm going to spend 2 days in a little hotel. And tomorrow night is CorrosionFest, where I'm going to be playing for the third time actually. But this time it's going to be with Manuskript. Now bear with me, there's a bit of backstory here. So let's get to it. So, a little bit of backstory. I grew up just listening to chart music as any other kid did in the 70s and 80s. And then when I was about 14, a big kid who just moved to the area, who we befriended, played me some Iron Maiden. And that completely blew my mind. And I remember sort of taking a dozen blank cassettes around to his house and saying, can you just put anything on this? So I got to learn about Iron Maiden, Motley Crue, Lita Ford, Metallica, all that kind of stuff. Brilliant. Fast forward a few years, when I'm at sixth form, I had attended a few house parties, as you do at that time, and normally, people are playing stuff like, back then it was, Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, Nirvana, a bit of Metallica. And then somebody put on the Sisters of Mercy Temple of Love 92 remix. I don't know if it was a single or an EP, but that really changed my life quite fundamentally. And then sort of a year or two after that, when we got mobile, me and best friends got cars and stuff, we started going to Cambridge and frequenting some of the alternative pubs and nightclubs there. And I ended up going to a nightclub in Cambridge called The Calling, which was held at a venue called the Q Club, sadly no longer there. And so, that was my first taste of goths, and sort of befriending them, learning all about the subculture, the local bands, getting them to do, mixtapes and stuff like that, and learning all about the music that was around at the time. There was a local band called Rome Burns, who I saw play a few times in Cambridge at various venues, because they were sort of local to the area. And then I bumped into the guitarist, Stu, at Ely train station, I think it was, sometime between Christmas and New Year. He was going up north to visit family. I was on my way to Cambridge to go clubbing, and he was just like, hey, how you doing, all that kind of stuff. And then he was like, I'm quitting the band. Do you know anyone who plays guitar? And I'd been tinkering with guitar for a few years, teaching myself stuff from tab books. So I said, yeah, maybe I can have a go. So there were 3 people at the audition, which was held in a back pub in Huntingdon, although one of the people dropped out at the last minute. So there was just the 2 of us, and I got the job. So that was late 90s, maybe 2000, creeping into 2000, maybe 2001 even, long time ago, over 27 years. And then some of the other local people I got to know, and eventually there was a sort of a gothic dark wave band called Last July, which consisted of a keyboard player and a vocalist, and they were thinking about adding a guitar to their sound to just thicken things up a little bit. So I worked with them, set some of their songs, some guitar parts to some of their songs, and got that gig. So then I was in 2 bands. But that was the early 2010s, and then in 2012 I became a dad. Being a parent sort of takes priority there. So I had to kind of quit the band thing. But then, you know, as my daughter grew up, I gradually started hanging out with the guys again in both bands, and you know, then it was like, oh, do you want to come and join us, and blah blah blah. So over time, you know, the band thing restarted. Last July I'd had a succession of guitarists and bassists come and go. By that point, the keyboardist Dave had switched to guitars himself. So when I said, you know, I could rejoin, or can I rejoin, you know, I had to come back on bass, which is fine, and it's actually it's fun to come back to a band that you've known so well on guitar and then play bass for. It's quite refreshing. But anyway, so that's my potted history of the music biz from my perspective. So Manuskript were a band that I heard of very early on my sort of journey in the Gothic subculture. They played the Whitby Gothic weekend many times, but I wouldn't necessarily describe their sound as goth. Their early stuff was very punky and sort of new wavy, which really appealed to me. And over time, yeah, their sound, I just liked the diversity in their sound. You know, they did some really heavy tracks, they did poppy tracks, they covered a wide range of different sounds, and they could, because they had guitars, they had bass, they had synthesizers. And I got to know the band obviously during my gigs with Rome Burns and Last July. We would cross paths quite a lot. We got to know their singer Mike quite well, and he was actually the producer of the last 3 Rome Burns albums. Because not only is he a vocalist, but he also plays a little bit of guitar. You know, he's worked in recording studios and stuff. He just knows what he's doing. He's a fantastic guy. So then when it came time for them to do CorrosionFest, they discovered they were a guitarist down. So I was chatting to Mike about that in the car, because he occasionally plays bass for Rome Burns. So we'd just done a gig, I think that was Nottingham, I can't remember. But we were in the car anyway, and he just said, we kind of need a guitarist. So I offered. Meanwhile, Alexandria, the singer of Last July, she was round Manuscript's keyboardist Tim, round his house, helping him with his side project, laying down some vocals. And he'd mentioned that they need a guitarist, and she said, oh, why don't you reach out to me? So in this kind of weird Gothic pincer movement, my name floated to the top of the list. And yeah, after a few rehearsals and lots of conversations, they sort of let me join. So that's where we are. So CorrosionFest is going to be my first gig with Manuskript. I'm excited, also a little bit scared, but we'll see how it goes. So, CorrosionFest. Now, the organisers of CorrosionFest, I think, started a regular night in Morecambe in 2017. I forget the name of the night, probably Corrosion. But in 2019, I think, they moved to the Alhambra Theatre in Morecambe, which is, you know, one of those old-time proper theatres. You know, they had stage productions and shows and stuff. I think somebody told me once, you know, Laurence Olivier trod the boards there or whatever, but you know, anyway, lovely venue, now converted into a proper a proper music venue, big stage, big backstage area, you know, loads of areas to stand, loads of seating, a great bar, a lovely little lounge at the front. It's fantastic. So I think it was 2020 they actually started CorrosionFest itself, and now I think they do a couple of events over the course of the year, maybe 3. But anyway, I got to play there 2 years ago with Last July, which was a fantastic experience. During the event, I think we got to speak to one of the organisers, and said, "What about Rome Burns, which is my other band? You know, would they be able to come and do CorrosionFest?" And sure enough, next year, Rome Burns got invited to play. So I played there twice, which is fantastic. Oh God, is there anything better than a cup of tea?
There we go. It's going to be my base of operations for the next couple of nights. Very long journey. Stopped off at the UK Diner near Newark for a burger on the way, and a very large pot of tea. So yeah, I don't even know what time it is now. What time are we? Nearly 3 o'clock when I left. Ooh, very early this morning. So I'm going to go and have a bit of a rest, I think. So I've had a coffee, had a bit of a little nippy nap, so I'm feeling a little bit better. Now it's time to have a bit of a practice. So fortunately I've got, wherever it is, I've got this little gizmo. Let me show you. This little Boss Pocket GT, which is something that connects to your phone, and so you can have the music on your phone, or you can connect to YouTube, and it streams it not only to your headphones, but also you can trigger patch changes if your songs have got distorted bits and clean bits and stuff like that. So basically you can just plug in, jam along. It's very cool. I've been using it for years. I've got my wireless system as well because I need to test that. So I'll test that with me little Boss practicing. But what I wanted to show you was my new guitar. Now for years I've been playing a mixture of PRS SE guitars. I've got a Paul Allender from Cradle of Filth. I've got his signature guitar, which is pretty cool. I've played Strats. I've got a 2 humbucker Strat that I use for very, very special occasions because it's not cheap. It's a US Strat. Also Charvel has been my #1 guitar for years and years and years because it's just solid piece of wood. It really is. But in recent years I bought, I wanted to get back into headless guitars. So I bought a Strandberg. And then I liked it so much. It was a HSS guitar. And I'm really a 2 humbucker guy, but I liked the Strandberg so much I bought a 2 humbucker one last year, and then this year they announced they were bringing out a new Strandberg, or a new version of the Strandberg with a trem, a new reimagined trem system and a roasted maple neck and yada yada yada. So I was very excited and saved up some pennies. And I bought this little baby. Look at that. Not normally a fan of pink, but you know, it's just, look at the neck on that. They're just such brilliant instruments. They're really light. They've got this weird trapezoid shaped, probably can't see that, this weird trapezoid shaped neck profile called the Enduro neck. which is very weird for the first few hours of playing, and I almost can't play anything else now. It's just been a revelation, and they just sound great. These ones have got Seymour Duncan, Sentient and Pegasus, I believe. Pickup's a pickup, but you know, some people like to get the knickers in a twist over that sort of thing. But anyway, time for a bit of a jam. You won't be able to hear anything, but so I'll turn the camera off now, and I'll see you later.
Morning. It's 9:24 on Saturday. Didn't sleep very well. I never do in strange hotels, if I'm honest. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to be on stage for about 11 hours, but I need to get to the venue for 11 just to unload, and there might be a chance of doing a mini sound check. Normally it's only the first and the last band that get a sound check in these sorts of all-day events, but because we've got quite a complicated setup with, you know, 2 guitars, bass, keyboards, backing, all that kind of stuff, they said they might be able to squeeze us in. So it's going to be a long old day, but I've got a cup of tea, and I think I'm about 45 minutes away from the venue, so I'm just going to neck that, pack the car and shoot off to Morecambe.
Yeah. Two, three. Yeah.
And you're all going to act surprised, okay? Guess what? What? We got a new single. And we're going to give it a go. So, if we fuck it up, you'll be in an exclusive club. Actually, no. We fucked it up a lot already.
We've been fucking it up for weeks.
But fucking it up live for the first time since 19 whenever. 19? 20. This is called Doomscrolling, so get on your phones and fucking do that.
This line deliberately, leaving all in jeopardy. Every truth disguised the spin, every doubt comes creeping in. I trace the cracks across the screen, watching lives reduced to be empathy to sauce, filtered out with no remorse. Wide awake, frozen states, no escape. I relive the worst conceits, call it habit, call it need. Every promise under strain, every answer looks the same. We learned the rules and played along, pretending nothing here was wrong. But now it is a loaded gun, and I can't be the only one. Wide awake, can't unsee. Frozen states, no escape, no escape. Wide awake, can't unsee. Frozen states, no escape. Face my fears with total gesture. I close my eyes, but the text remains. Bogus is scum. The wreckage on display will never look away. Wide awake, can't unsee. A frozen state, there's no escape, no escape. Wide awake, can't unsee. In a frozen state, there's no escape, no escape. Wide awake, Doomscrolling, can't unsee. No escape. Wide awake.
So, just got off stage from the Manuscript gig. Absolutely amazing. Didn't make many cock-ups. Yeah, had an awful lot of fun. All of my friends were out in the audience, and on the last song there was a massive stage invasion and everyone came on stage with us, and it was such a good atmosphere. Had such a lot of fun. So yeah, just got to pack all the equipment up now and yeah, hang out for a little bit, and that'll be the end of another gig. So yeah, I'm going to walk the floor a little bit, show you what this festival's like, and yeah, catch you later.